We're following new developments on the trade war between the U.S. and China. Starting today, the U.S. has imposed tariffs on $34 billion worth of Chinese products. And President Trump has threatened to raise that amount to $50 billion in 2 weeks. Well, China shot back by imposing its own tariffs on American goods. Face the Nation moderator and CBS News senior foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan is following the latest from Washington. Margaret, kind of the big question, why? Why is the Trump administration choosing to engage in this trade war with China now by imposing these new tariffs?
Well, Beijing's calling this like the opening shot in the largest economic trade war in history. Big words, big threats, and today those rhetorical flourishes are now turned into action with these 25% duties that are being put on American-made goods being sold into China and vice versa. The White House and the argument here they make is that this is sort of a necessary evil, that the stated intent of the president is to try to get China to agree to negotiate on things like stopping what they say is overproduction of metals like steel, which artificially deflates prices, but also the business practices in China of what he says is stealing American intellectual property, sort of our trade secrets of American corporations who do business in China. But on that front, we haven't seen progress yet. So the promise of bigger, better trade deals is not surfacing at the moment, but we are just seeing escalation. So that's going to be of concern here. And you were hearing from American businesses who told the U.S. Federal Reserve, and these minutes were published just yesterday, that they are pulling back on future spending because they are concerned that this could escalate further.
So how are administration officials and diplomats on both sides in China and the U.S. trying to solve this problem? Are they even talking at this point, or are they just going to see what happens?
We have no news of any scheduled negotiations with the U.S. Trade Representative or from the Treasury Secretary, but we do know that within the Trump administration there are very deep divisions when it comes to how to handle trade. Steve Mnuchin, someone who spent a lot of time in the marketplace, who knows the business community, has been trying to push for breakthroughs, de-escalate a little bit here, find some ways around it. And you saw him have some success last week because the Trump administration kind of pulled back. They decided to let Congress take the way forward on trade restrictions that they had threatened on Chinese firms who do business here in America and invest here in the United States. Instead saying, Congress will do that, we're not going to step in and block it at the executive level. That surprised many, but the White House didn't back down on this tariff front, and you're seeing some sort of trade hardliners like the trade representative Lighthizer, like Peter Navarro, who's an economic advisor who is very ideological, very well known for his strong views about China, seemingly having the president's ear on this. So it's a divided administration on the trade front, and today you're seeing that really result in this escalation.
And Margaret, this trade war with China comes as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to head to North Korea. Again, of course, China is going to play a crucial role in whatever we try to do in North Korea in that peace process. Could this trade war have ripple effects when it comes to what we're trying to do in North Korea?
It could. I mean, what you hear always from administrations is no, one thing has nothing to do with the other, but they know that when it comes to pressure points, President Trump likes to use whatever leverage he has, and that's certainly something that we've seen the Chinese try to exploit as well to their advantage in the past. So it's impossible to say that one won't impact the other, particularly when China is needed to really, in many ways, strong-arm North Korea to follow through on any of these supposed promises they've made to denuclearize. What we've seen from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is that he'll be in the country for about a day and a half. He's going to try to fill in the blanks, and there are a lot of them, on what is this verbal agreement between President Trump and the leader Kim Jong-un to disarm that country. According to Ambassador John Bolton, the president's chief national security advisor, he told me on Face the Nation this past Sunday that North Korea still has not given an itemized list of the weapons they have in their arsenal. And he described that as step one in what would be a one-year disarmament process. So we haven't even seen that happen yet. You've just seen these promises. And you heard from President Trump yesterday on Air Force One. He told reporters he'll be patient up to a point point here. He said it's not endless, but he does see that there are some confidence building measures that North Korea is undertaking, like pulling down some of the propaganda they have at the border.
A lot to pick apart there. Thank you very much. Margaret Brennan from D.C.